Well, hello there, fellow geeks and geekettes, and welcome to the first part of my brand new video series called Focusing on Artists, in which I focus on artists, be it comic book artists, manga artists, or painters, whatever artist comes up my mind at the present moment. Because as everybody should know, especially as far as comic books go, and manga as well, the comic book or the book script and the artwork not only go hand in hand but are inseparable, and one really can't exist without the other to the full extent to make the fullest impact on the reader. And whereas there are a lot of reviews where the reviewers are talking about the plot and the story of the particularly comic book, manga, or book, there are not many videos that would focus specifically on the artist, him or herself, right? So these are going to be very short videos in which I will simply say, oh, this artist is very cool, well, that's why I love him, get his book, buy his book, enjoy it, and make your lives a little bit nicer, a little bit more beautiful, a little bit better. And I consider it only fitting that my first episode of this particular video series would be about Ethan Van Sciver, who really is one of my own personal favorites as far as comic book art goes, and especially his early work. But what is even more admirable, and I always say so, is when somebody writes his own comic, but at the same time draws and inks his own creation. Now, everybody, well, some people are gifted that way, some people are gifted another way, but when somebody can actually write a very good script and at the same time draw it, well, that's a piece of art. Then think about Mike Mignola, think about Ethan Van Sciver, think about the guy who does the new Batman miniseries, the White Knight. His name slipped my mind. Well, never mind. I think I'm going to make an entire video about him. But what I wanted to talk about in this video is Cyberfrog, the Reservoir Frog issue 2. Especially because, it has been hanging on my wall for some time, and I thought that I just have to make a video about that. I, of course, know that Ethan Van Sciver has been very influential as a comic book artist for a very long time. He was, after all, one of the main artists and main personalities who drew one of my favorite issues of Green Lantern from the Jeff Johns' run. He also did some work on Batman and on X-Men. But what I admire, once again, is his early work on Cyberfrog, which this, I believe, came out in the 90s. Now, I haven't done my research that properly, but I have, 1996 this was printed. This came out, Cyberfrog Reservoir Frog issue 2. Right, so, and if you look in the interior artwork, you can clearly see that this is a 90s ride, right? I will just give you the plot very, very briefly and very quickly. Cyberfrog, the Reservoir Frog, this is issue 2, I've got issue 1 as well, is a very short story about an alien cyber frog living on Earth, and protecting New York against a swarm and a gang of, equally cyber creatures, but they are not frogs, they are not amphibians, but they are insects. So we've got things like We've got things like wasps, like centipedes, like scorpions, and things like that. And the comic book itself is full of witty humor that makes you laugh and makes you, feel entertained, and a lot of references to pop culture of the 1990s, and to, well, the life in the United States of America in general. And me, growing up in the 1990s, I can appreciate that even more, since I do see all the things that I loved and have loved, of course, since and always, that I grew up with. Even if I grew up in the Czech Republic, we still, had the same films as they had in America, and things that are in one way or another connected with pop culture. And Ethan Van Sciver really combining his witty humor and a very clever dialogue and very clever script with those references to pop culture and life in general of the 1990s, combining it with his perfect art, which at times resembles, just a teensy little bit, it resembles the early art of Todd McFarlane, which is also one of the icons of the 1990s comic books. And the result is then a fun ride that will not let you go for the entirety of reading of the particular comic book. The only shame is that he didn't write and draw more issues of Cyberfrog in the 1990s. And look at that. That is fantastic. Look at the double spread page. This is worth an oversized print itself and hanging it on one's wall. So, and look at that. This is a woman portrayed as a woman should look like, or an idealized version of a woman in an American comic book, not a approved body type that has been appearing in American comic books for some time now, especially in Marvel Comics. Well, I could show you the whole book, but I don't want to show you that, really. You might get it. I believe that those issues are still available on eBay or things like that in the second-hand market. And of course, I'm going to get the new issues of Cyberfrog that Ethan Van Sciver is self-publishing these days. So I will definitely support him and buy his product, read it, and frame the comic book, hang it on my wall next to this awesome issue of the 1990s Cyberfrog. Of course, the first time I encountered the artwork of Ethan Van Sciver was in my favorite Green Lantern run, the Jeff Johns' run. And then I fell in love with Ethan Van Sciver's artwork so much that I started following him. And I started looking up single issues or floppies with his artwork, just so I can have them and enjoy them in the paper work, in the paper form. As I said, the only shame is that not much of his artwork has come out in oversized collected editions, which I would like to own very much. Anything or everything that Ethan Van Sciver worked on, because especially his early work, as I say, once again, is a typical and awesome representation of the 90s action comic book artwork that I grew up with and will love forever. So that would be all for this part, for the first part of my focusing on artists video series. Today we focused on Ethan Van Sciver, and I will see you very soon in another video. Well, that will be all from me, my friends. Now, see you soon, and bye.